If you want to make sure you stay in good conversation, you gotta tune in to Coffee and Conversation with Collette. That's me, Thursday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on the only station, WHBR TV 33. See you soon.
Rise and shine up and at 'em. Can you believe it is June 1st? Amazing June 1st to you. I know that you really probably, maybe weren't really thinking about it, right? Because we didn't realize how many days May had, like May 31st. Today is June 1st. Happy June 1st to you. You're officially tuned in to Coffee and Conversation with Collette, and I'm Collette, and you all know I do my curtsy because that's what I do to show reverence to you, because as I share with you, I know, and you know that you could be anywhere, doing anything, watching any program, but you actively choose to tune into WHBR TV 33. And whether it is via TV 33 or Comcast 91, or Roku, or streaming live, or whatever avenue, platform you've used, you've done it. And now you're here, and now you're ready for the conversation. I want to say an amazing, great morning as well to Mr. Newman Abdul Mujib and his family. I had the pleasure of experiencing such a phenomenal homegoing service, a transitional service for his mother, Sister Johnny, at the Detroit Muslim Center yesterday. And it was an awesome experience. Like, that, let me just tell you, that's the first time that I had the pleasure of visiting the Detroit Muslim Center. And it was peace, and it was just a familial environment, and it was a great janazah. Is that, if I hope that I'm pronouncing it properly, the service, the prayer, and it gave a great, amazing overview of how the body is prepared and the reasoning and the purposes and the prayers. And I learned so much, and it was just so great. And so thank you so much, Newman, for sharing that experience with me. Very personal experience, just with family, and we go some 30 years back. So thank you so much, and it was a pleasure to be there. And I think coming off of the conversation that we had yesterday about what we're doing that matters, everyone knows that the masses don't necessarily equate that Black Lives Matter. We want them to matter. The slogan, Black Lives Matter. And I'm asking us yesterday, coming off of Roseanne's comments about Valerie Jarrett and when a Muslim and the Planet of the Apes meet up, that's who they produce. And then, of course, cost her the Roseanne show. And we talked about what that looked like. I tried to egg us into a space, coerce us into a space to say, is that really what it's about? And the truth is, the America that we know through these awesomely high ratings that that show gets and has gotten throughout the years didn't just start with her. It started with Archie Bunker and All in the Family. And so we've constantly created comedy out of the racism and bigotry in America. But those truths are what kept those and propelled those shows and those ideologies. It spoke truth to what people actively believe and still believe on today. And so I asked us to really revisit that, to look at the onset of what it looks like, and then how we look at each other today. What we do today to support each other or don't support each other, creating a relevance in our lives today as people of color, amongst people of color, regardless of what it looked like to the others. I'm not going to say they're masses, because they're not the masses. It's to the others. That's why they're so fearful now. That's why they don't want this open immigration policy to be in place. That's why they want this wall, because they know this America that's the ideology with the people will become the reality. Did you get that? So it will no longer be an idea, it will be a reality. Because the people will dictate based on where they are socioeconomically. And if most of us are disadvantaged, then we're going to collectively create a voice that's going to change politics and policy, that's going to bend, and yield and lean to our desires. So they know that if they can keep control of that, that means that you won't have the population that you can manipulate, and then you can keep that 10% control. We talked about that. I talked about the understanding that Donald Trump, even when his business days, didn't talk about the racist ideology and making America great again. He didn't talk about all that because he didn't need to have to move the masses into a platform that supported him economically to create more revenue for him and his Trump enterprise. But now he knows that because we are first on this first level of learning in life, that we don't dig deeper. We only look at the symptoms. We don't understand the issues. And so he knows he can say anything to manipulate the minds of the people, they're actually the brains because they're not thinking. So they can be manipulated to do and to move however he wants them to do while he keeps accumulating wealth. And so then those of us fall into that same line, people of color who have power, who've amassed what we believe is power, some kind of control. We create that same oppressive nature on each other and then wonder why we haven't gone any further as a group. Or we keep talking about the same conversations because we do pimp then. We pimp the community into having those same conversations so then you can elect us as well. We do the same thing. We constantly keep talking about reparations. We keep talking about insurance. We keep talking about poor schools. Stop it. You've known that. Specifically in this region, that has been our history. How many emergency managers have we gone through? I'm 46 years old. Insurance has always been an issue. All you have to do is work to change the legislation. But when the lobbyists from the insurance companies are putting all the monies into the pockets of the legislators, I don't have to change it. I'm not going to change it. It's lobbying. I was having a great conversation with Reverend David Alexander Bullock a couple weeks ago. And I told him, Doc, he's like, Collette, I hear the things you're talking about. I said, absolutely. And I said, but my thing. I love your protest, but your protest without policy does nothing. Yes, it makes noise and you have great sound bites and you have a great conversation right at that moment. And then what? So the protest and the policy, but that only comes with power, and you have power with money. We're in an election cycle. You all know that the Mackinac Policy Conference, did you get? But if it wasn't relevant to you then, the naming should tell you something. It's about policy, understanding how to create policy. The Mackinac Policy Conference that is just concluding this week in Mackinac Island, where all the movers and shakers convene to be able to discuss what the state of Michigan is going to look like. Did you follow that? Do you have any ideas? Do you have any concerns? Do you know who you're going to vote for? Just for governor. I saw the clip we're going to bring up at the top of the hour, the next hour. We're going to bring up some, the overview, if you will, a little snippet from the gubernatorial debate in Mackinac. I'd love to know who you're going to vote for. Are you going to vote? Is that important to you? Is that how you exercise power? Do you even believe you have power? But maybe we'll go back to the quote from yesterday, because I know there were so many calls yesterday and we were having some challenges with the online, with our ability to communicate yesterday. So I want to give you a chance to revisit that a bit on this morning. Let me give you the numbers again. 313-868-0342 or 313-868-0351, 313-868-4336. Of course, I want to hear from you. I want us to be a part of that conversation. I want to hear what you wanted to share yesterday. But maybe I'm going to revisit this quote from Tim Wise as I shared. And what is it? Quote, Black lives matter less than white comfort. And let me add that, and let me add a piece of that. Black lives matter less than white comfort and white control. Comfort and control, they go together. Those are the C's. So I'm going to create a space that allows you to believe that you have to act a certain way to make me comfortable. So that means that I take the power. You yield your power to me. I change the narrative for you. So much so that so many of us aren't even aware of what is going on. It's like Houdini. It's like the magic trick that we all believe in. We believe in the magic. So they make it happen because I'm going to create such a conversation in what you see subliminally that you're just going to believe it. You're going to buy into it. You're going to believe that black people or brown people are perceived a certain way in America, so you have to act a certain way. You have to be unthreatening so that the white woman won't clutch her purse. But as soon as you amass some wealth, she'll be working to cling to your arm. And she'll be working to put your wealth in her purse. Did you all get that? I said it on today. And I want to open with another piece when we talked yesterday. What did Joanne Reed say? Everyday racism in America. Being black means constantly rendering yourself unthreatening to white people. And I said, constantly rendering yourself unthreatening to black people as well. We look at each other as a threat, and I'm trying to understand how that possibly could happen when we have no power. Everyone wants to sit and poo-poo on the powers that be as it pertains to how to get people elected, and these same old names, these same old conversations, this same old not having a plan. And you then want to jump up and say, choose me yet again, and that these people in this party are supposed to be amicable. Stop. That's slavery. It's a learned behavior that you have to be amicable with the group that consistently oppresses you, but you're supposed to be a named member in that party as well. But now I have to make sure it's comfortable that you can include me. We weren't included when the party had the convention and they pulled Gretchen Whitmer out of their hats. We weren't included in that. But now the conversations are, oh, well, with these top candidates that could threaten that ticket, that now maybe we need to make them feel a little more comfortable with us, so they can include us, so they can support us. Are you kidding me? How does that work? How's that ever worked? It hasn't worked for the people who want to be in power and control. They don't acquiesce to anything and anyone. They take what they want, and they apologize for it later when they get caught. That's what Roseanne did, because she walks in a place of privilege. Whether she can cover it up as a white woman in America, she can cover it up as a comedian in America, she can cover it up as this is just the energy of America, so I'm just creating a conversation because I'm just saying what you all were thinking. Whatever that cover up is, she didn't think once about, oh, should I not say that? Should I not make those comments? But of course, she said it. And when there was an uproar and an uprising, it's only when she apologized. But what do? Not only do we think about what we're going to say, then we think through how they're going to respond, or how we think they're going to respond, and then what ramifications they're going to put on us because we give them that power. That's a part of that everyday racism. And so then we've already worked through in our mind how to make them comfortable with something still that will oppress us. Are you getting it this morning? This is what I'm going to do. Maybe that's too strong for you. I'm going to go to a clip. Let me go to this clip. It's going to lighten the mood a little bit, but it's lightening the mood, and you all will chuckle, but you better get the points because we're going to discuss them when we come back.
I don't know this girl.
About 2 months.
Only 2 months and they're engaged already?
That's right. I blame it on daylight saving time. Oh, you take good care of this pretty little lady now.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I like your family, Lionel. They all seem so nice.
Oh, they got you food too, huh? So what happened to your folks?
Well, they'll be here soon. Lionel, have you told your father about my parents yet?
Oh, you mean about them being werewolves?
Oh, be serious.
No, there's some things you don't tell my father till it's too late.
But Lionel, I'm worried.
Listen, relax. Everything's gonna be okay.
Now, you don't have to be nervous with a colored crowd. Just keep your eye on me.
Hey. Hi.
It's down the hall.
No, I ain't looking for that. No. Do I look like an elk?
Oh, hello, you two.
Hi there.
Oh, it's so nice of you to come, Archie.
Yeah, I know.
Where's Mike and Gloria? I don't see them.
Oh, they are over at our house picking up some records.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, can I introduce you to everybody?
Oh, well, I'll tell you the truth, Mr. Chase.
Or would you rather have a drink first?
That's the guy I want to meet, the bartender.
Oh, look. Hello, Mr. Jefferson.
Oh, hi, Mrs. Bunker. Hey, Jefferson there. How are you? Listen, that formal invitation you sent by your wife, I think that was very white of you.
That's exactly the way I felt when I did it. George, why don't you take Archie over to the bar and offer him a drink?
Hey, Jefferson, I seen you hosing down your porch yesterday.
Oh, yeah? When am I going to see you hosing down yours?
Bartender,
Yes, sir.
get the man a drink, please.
What'll it be, sir?
Whiskey.
Any particular brand?
Yeah, the expensive brand.
And what about you, sir?
Scotch and soda, please.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jefferson, there's a switch for you. This guy giving you the big yes, sir?
Why? He's a bartender, ain't he?
Yeah, but what I meant was I'm used to having it the other way around.
Oh, yeah? How many servants you got in that mansion you living in?
What do you mean by that?
Let me tell you something about people.
There you are.
Thank you. That bartender's willing to work for me because if you got enough green in your pocket, then black becomes his favorite color.
George, that's your third drink.
I know that.
Well, put it down.
Mama, will you leave me alone, please?
I said put it down. You've had enough.
Look, Mama, I'm a big boy now. I don't need you to blow my nose for me. Now, will you leave me alone?
George.
Hey there, Jefferson. That ain't very nice, talking that way to your little mammy here.
Who you calling Mammy? You. Well, don't you dare call me Mammy. I'm nobody's mammy. I'm his mother. Now, if you've got anything to say to me, you call me Mrs. Jefferson.
Oh, she's Mrs. Jefferson.
Don't talk to me.
That's done.
And don't you try to make a big either.
Mother Jefferson, what's wrong?
No, I'm getting out here.
George, what's going on? He called Mama Mammy.
I didn't think I was doing nothing wrong. I thought all colored people call their mothers mammy. Well, I did, Jefferson. That's what I always heard. Geez, Al Jolson called his mother mammy for years.
See that, Louise? You see? That's what you get for inviting white.
Hi. Oh, hey. Hey, if you're looking for the Elks Club, it's down the hall.
No, I'm still in the right place.
Oh, yeah? What are you, the caterer? So what are you doing here, a white guy?
I'm a guest. What are you doing here, a white guy?
I'm the family's white friend.
Jenny! Oh, Mom! You look beautiful. Oh, so do you, baby. So do you.
You see that little girl over there? That's the little girl that Lionel's going to marry.
Yeah, I know. And you know who that lady is hugging her?
No?
She's my wife.
Oh, the...
Hi, Mr. Wells.
Hi, Lionel.
Oh, I see you met Mr. Bunker.
Oh, we met.
Yeah.
Well, Lionel, shouldn't we introduce my parents to yours?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Now, wait a minute there, Lionel. Hey, do you mean to tell me that your father ain't met that man?
No, I'm going to introduce him right now.
This I gotta
Could you come over here a second? I got some people I want you to meet.
see. Hey, Jefferson, you're gonna love this.
Okay, Mom, Pop, this is Jenny's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Willis.
I'm very pleased to meet you.
How do you do?
Mrs. Jefferson? Mr. Jefferson? You white. And you're black.
She's kicking her head, ain't it?
Lionel, I want to talk to you.
All the chickens come out to the roasters now. Come out,
Would
my
you just excuse us, please?
Listen, you know what I think?
Would you excuse us, please?
What the hell? I'll eat something.
Jenny, you didn't tell them, did you? No.
Why? You ashamed of us?
No, you know better than that.
And why?
Well, I wanted to, but Lionel thought it would be better to wait because his father is... He certainly is.
George, I thought you said you liked Jenny. That's before I met him. Wait, man, you don't even know him. I don't want to know him. I don't want no white in-laws in my family. I think they'll be my in-laws, not yours. Think, son, think. What about your children? What they gonna be? Well, boys and girls, I hope.
Boys, we are not wanted here.
Helen, don't fly off the handle.
I want to leave, and right now.
But, Mom, you
Jenny, you stay out of this. This is between your father and me.
Okay, have a good time.
Can't you tell when you've been insulted?
Now, just don't get excited.
I am not getting excited. I am getting mad.
Listen to him, Louise. That's what happens when you mix black and white. 10 more seconds, he's gonna call her nigger.
Listen to that. I ain't used that word in 3 years.
I'm getting madder.
Listen to this dame over here. In another minute, she's gonna call him a honky.
Hi, we brought the records. Did we miss anything?
Only the beginning of World War III. I'll explain later. Just play something quick and loud.
Oh, okay.
Louis, just take it easier than think we're really fighting.
Who cares what they think?
Ah, come on now, Helen. We've run into his kind before. Black and white. We've always been able to handle them.
Sure, because we never let them walk all over us. We did something about it.
You want me to do something about it, all right? I am going to do something about it. Right now.
Get near the door, Rita. It's gonna be a race riot.
Mrs. Jefferson.
Yes.
May I have this dance?
You certainly may.
Louise! I'm standing here. Sorry, he asked me first.
Archie, no trouble at all.
You see that? What mixed marriage leads to? Mixed dancing.
Mrs. Willis, you have a lovely daughter.
Thank you. I don't believe we've met.
Oh, I'm Mrs. Bunker. I ain't one of the relatives. I'm just a good friend.
Bunker, what is this world coming to?
Beats me, Jefferson. All I got to say is, here's to yesterday.
And let me just say, no, it was great. And there are parts that I laughed. Like, I laughed at those troops. I wrote some things down. Wait, the most important part, he said, what is this world coming to? And then what did Archie Bunker say? Here's to yesterday. So was George Jefferson's character a character that you identify with? Where there were those of us who believe that, you know what? You stay where you stay, I'll stay where I stay, I can be good and successful. Because you noticed the Jeffersons had it going on. The Jeffersons lived better than anybody. Definitely had more wealth than the Bunkers. But you notice that air of privilege and superiority that Archie Bunker's character, they still believed that they were better. When the gentleman, what did they say? When he came and he greeted them, what did he tell them? Well, the Elks meeting is down the hall. So in essence, there's no way you could be here with these group of black folk because you're white, right? And so then when he saw the next white man that he's encountered, what did he say? Oh, well, who are you? Then it was the Elks meeting, no. Who are you? Then the caterer, no. I loved what he said about the bartender. How do you get him to work for you? What did he say? When you have enough green in your pocket, that becomes your favorite color. Come on. It goes back to money. That money is what the truth is the influence. It's the socioeconomic components that change the dynamics of our communities. It changes what you have access to. The health, the education, the city services, that money. The money and the perception of the people who have the money. Do you wonder why? It's no reason. It's not rocket science why those of us who amassed wealth, when people of color got those good paying jobs, you left the city and you moved out to the suburbs. Or you moved into those more privileged areas and then sent your children to either the top public schools or you sent them to private schools because your perception is it's better. You're not going to have to endure some of the things that others have to endure within a different class because they're not in the same class as you. Think about that. What were some of the other things in the clip? Your formal invitation. Oh, that's very white of you. Did you get that? And then George, what? Did he agree? Who you calling Mammy? 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 He said, I thought all colored people refer to their as folks as Mammy. He didn't say what your mother as Mammy. It's Mammy. That's Mammy. That's what he said. I'm the family's white friend. How many times have you heard of that? Oh, I'm not racist. I have a black friend. I mean, those are things that we just grow up with and it's just understood. Are we okay with those things? You like what you like. Let me tell you. I tell everyone, I feel comfortable around people that look like me. Even though I went to Ivy League schools, not a problem. In certain areas. And I mean, what can you say? There's a culture. If you grow up within your culture, you feel comfortable in your culture. And then I believe that we believe it's an attack when people that don't look like us are absorbing the culture. I don't know what you think. I mean, and then we're back to, again, I'm going to go, all the lines are lit, so I see everyone. I'm going to get you in today. And then it goes back to the whole same conversation. If indeed that America valued black folk the way they value black culture, we wouldn't even be having these conversations. And folks don't even understand that. The same folks who are sitting here creating legislation that is oppressive to people of color, when you go to their homes and they have teenage children, they're listening to rap. They're listening to Jay-Z. They're listening to Drake. They're listening to Tupac. They're listening to Snoop Dogg. That's who they're listening to. When they want to wear the brands, what are the brands that they're wearing? The ones that folks of color wear. I didn't say folks of color own. That's a whole nother conversation. When you go to those concerts, who's buying those tickets? Who's out in that audience? It's not black folks majority. But these are the same people. There's this the disconnect. Like, white folks don't even understand that. Do you understand that they don't even understand? They don't even understand that if you are actively fighting to create things that are not advantageous to a certain group of people and your kids are trying to identify with that culture, there's a disconnect. It's a huge disconnect. At some point, when is the rubber going to meet the road? Maybe that's what our millennials are doing right now. Maybe the millennial mindset, and the millennial, Princess, where are you this morning? I want to hear from you. Are you in the space, are the millennials now in the space where the color doesn't matter? I believe so. I believe that the energies of the millennials is very different. That color doesn't matter. If you're my friend, you're my friend. Period. That was then. Civil rights was then. Segregation was then. We're all together now. Is that what it is? Is that how you propose that we're moving right now? Is that why we don't have all the uproars and the activism the way we used to? I don't know. I'm about to go to the line, and I want to hear from you because there's more than one way to have a conversation. But I want to set the tone. I wanted us to, again, get another clip from yesterday, and then we're going to parlay that into the importance of us understanding who we are as a people, and again, the power narrative and how we shape the idea of America. So let me go to the line. Thanks for your patience. Great morning to you. Caller, are you there? Good morning.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay. First, let me say, let me turn this down. Thank you, because I did laugh at some of those comments.
Right.
And I'm stating my age. I lived through those. I watched some of Archie Bunker, you know,
yes.
And I laughed because it was funny.
Yes.
All right, to me,
yes.
From my culture and my upbringing.
Yes.
But through all of this, also let me add this first.
Okay.
One of the things that's different between that time and this time, you know, time, whatever time works for anybody,
okay,
is that women are more educated and smarter than men. Okay. Having said that, then the culture of, you know, when I look at, I said, what was women's role? You know, it was traditional that this might be off the mark, but women stayed home and the men went out and did the work.
Yes.
Now women make more money. Women command more things.
Yes.
Women are more acceptance. You know,
yeah.
The thing that gets not in so much in the way because this way people is children. Your direction of when you start out, you know, I look at you.
Okay.
One thing you openly said, I don't have any children. You know, when you have children, you're getting up. You change. People that don't have children, you change. You have a responsibility to that person because they can't feed themselves. They can't do this. It's not getting away from Archie Bunker. So you accept more. You blend into the culture, whatever culture it is. You know, I truly enjoyed when he says, you know, if you got enough green,
yes,
whatever. It took me. I worked 40 years in a construction trade.
Okay.
And actually, I don't consider myself lucky, but when I look back, I was lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I was blessed.
Yes.
I was blessed.
Yes.
And I looked at how this business and any other business manipulates things.
Yes.
There were certain things that come to this that whatever happens, you know, the customer pays for everything.
Yes.
And you can't live in America without money.
Right.
How do you teach your children this? How do you have them, if you have children? If you don't have children, you don't have to even worry about any of this stuff. But how do you teach your children about their culture?
Sure.
You know, you starting out, you know, man, you probably didn't get it your first place. It was suppressed in your upbringing. Now, anybody that's not real, you know.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a school where they were all black.
Okay.
There was maybe one or two white teachers, but they're all black teachers. This is my grade school. That was the primary, and that's where people say, you know, your primary education going forward.
Yes.
So, and those words, the N-word and everything else, I learned all those from black folks. I didn't learn them from white folks.
Right. Ah, great point. Great point.
I didn't learn sexual things from black folks, whatever things, you know,
right.
Things that build into our culture.
Yeah.
Dancing. When I went to high school is when I first encountered white people. Not just white people, an abundance of white people, just like you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's, you know, that was, when I'm talking, it was before what they call integration, you know.
Right.
And I grew up in Detroit,
Okay.
believe it or not.
Great.
So, but, I'm making a lot of points going back and forth and not getting on to whatever. But I've also encountered those situations where I've been in a situation where when I worked construction, I was the only black guy there. I knew it.
Right.
I'd say, you know, I didn't, and I also knew I didn't have a job if I didn't show up every day.
Right.
I was in the military, I said this before, where I was not only I wasn't the only black guy, but there was still an abundance of white folks.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, an abundance of white folks. And
Right.
I knew it was inherent that you followed, the rules, whatever rules it was, you know, the chain of command. Blindly or whatever it was. People can call it patriotism. It has nothing to do with patriotism, you know.
Sure.
That's the way it is. I also had an opportunity to see, you know, about money.
Mm-hmm.
My father owned a dry cleaners.
Okay.
So here I'm in Texas, and you had to get your clothes cleaned.
Okay.
And there was only one cleaners that you were able to go to. What I saw was, this guy is making a bunch of money. I said, my daddy would just fall in high cotton if he was down here.
Right.
I called him up and I said, this is, you would, because he could care less. All he wanted to do was, in his lifetime, was clean and laundry shirts and all this stuff.
Sure.
And he would get 15 cents a shirt, 10 cents a shirt. You know what it costs to get a shirt nowadays?
Yes.
Probably about $2 or $3.
Right.
He would love it.
Right.
He would love it. He would have an orgasm, as you would say. All of these tools came into my upbringing.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
And maybe I'm getting away from a lot of stuff, but I enjoyed that. You know?
No, it's fine. I understand it. Let me ask you this, let me engage in the dialogue a little bit.
Right.
I think that you make a really great point about children. Children to me are a blessing. Like, I wish that I would have had some different conversations around how to prepare for children. Because I think nowadays, specifically women of color, prepare for children. Whereas maybe back in the day, it was just understood that if you did amass some type of education, maybe to high school or even to college, then you might you find your husband in college, or you find your husband after high school or in high school, and then you might work around a little bit for a couple of years, and then you start a family. It was just understood. And actually, in a lot of other cultures, that is it. Like, by the time you're 25, you need to be married, you know, have a husband, have children, and that is the role that you settle into. I, on the other hand, never even thought about it. Like, I was the one, I mean, I was always career driven, always said that my brother would be the one to have children, and I would just be this aunt who flew in on holidays, and I was jet setting and seeing the world, and I didn't understand the importance of that, and probably because of the nature of how I was brought up. I wasn't brought up in a two-parent home. So I didn't understand probably the importance of that. I mean, I definitely do now. Like, I think I've helped raise, in the relationships that I've helped raise a total of 9 children. Let me say that. Over the last 12 years, 9 children I assisted in raising. The youngest was 3 at the time. But so I know the importance of parenting. And like you said, the sacrifice and everything that you establish is to make them better, to give them better opportunities, to give them bigger exposures, to sow into them for greater conversations and thinking. I just don't think that we have those real conversations right now. And to talk about that, the importance of that.
I didn't have it. Listen, I'm 73.
Yeah.
I did not have it when I was coming up.
Wow.
And what it amounts to me,
okay,
looking back,
sure,
is that you just take it for granted.
Yeah,
I mean,
great point.
you just, this is the way it's done. That's the way my mother did it, my father did it. If you take for granted that when you get married, you're going to stay married forever. That's not true anymore.
No.
And a lot of it have different reasons. I told you, women are smarter. Women take it for granted that they're going to marry a man that's going to take care of them. That's not true.
Interesting.
Listen, I'm looking at my child, the last of the 7.
Okay.
Yeah, there was 7 children that I was involved with, okay? And I'm looking at the last of it, and I'm saying, she has a job that she makes more than her husband and whatever. And I had to subliminally explain to her, I said, your husband, you got to be careful now. I said, because he comes from, I look at the parents, look at whatever. And that's not why she chose him. She loves him.
Sure.
I don't want to slow that down. They have children.
Yeah.
But I know the race is on, that the focus is no longer on your career and the things you got to do. You got to reach back and get them kids.
Oh, sure.
You will not be able to do anything further if you're blessed to live any longer and you don't go back and say something to your kids. And what do you say? Because I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
I couldn't have told you. I was out there working.
You were working.
Trying to feed you.
Sure. Well, I think
other siblings.
Well, I think what you said before, and it ties into the bigger conversation, is that each generation, the goal and the desires that we've had more than the previous. So you work hard, you were working, so you could afford better opportunities to your 7 children. And so now, because of your labors, your family, your wife's labors, then your children are created and presented with better opportunities. And so now they're working to stay in this lifestyle, to have this home, probably, to those trips, those trinkets, those things that we look at and identify as value in our communities. And you have to work to have those. Like, I think about my schedule now. Like, I am up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm fortunate, if I can, to be asleep by 11 o'clock at night. And I don't have children. And I think about that. I'm like, good mercy. And great amazing morning, sister cousin Maria, because she has 2 teenagers and raising them. And I just said, every time I think about getting tired with my schedule, I think about her. I said, because she has to have the energy to take care of her household and her work and responsibilities, and then to be able to be a mother, supportive, and in all the activities of her children, and being there for them. And I'm like, how many hours in the day? But to your point, you have to make it a priority. It has to be a priority if you want a different result, because how many young people do you see right now that maybe that's it? The outburst was this privileged mindset that I want all of this stuff, but then there's nothing else that accompanies it. A level of entitlement that's taken away from the hard work and really understanding how it all looks, because they're going to be grown one day. And so what is it going to look like? If they're constantly been given things and don't have that familiar structure, what is it going to look like? Are they just going to mirror their parents working all the time? I appreciate your call. All my lines are lit. I said I
know,
promised
and
I was going to get everyone, so I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just smile.
Yeah,
I really
glad.
smile when you present these subjects, because now I said, I know how to play this game.
Yeah.
But they don't want me. They don't want to let me in the game any longer. And I smile. I say, because I probably wouldn't be good at it anyway.
Hey. Hey, but that's okay. You know what? That's the beauty of it, is that you've had the experience. Now you can sit by the door, like the spook that sat by the door, Samuel Greenlee. And now you can have the conversations with the rest of us so that we can sow into those others who are right where we used to be. And so they don't have to have the experiences, because remember, you have the impact. It might not necessarily be right now that you feel in your household, but to everyone else that you share your story with, especially on these airwaves, that they're learning from you and your experiences, because there are a lot of firsts. I'm sure there are a lot of men on the construction front, especially depending on what their area of expertise is, where they might be the only one. So hearing your story has an impact. Those who are in the military, hearing your story has an impact. A black man with a wife, staying married, raising children, that's a story. It has an impact. So
well,
thank you so much. Thank you. Have an amazing day and a phenomenal rest of the weekend. So everyone, I mean, we got into it. We were going some places, but I love that. I love that that's who we are. And Lions, don't hang up. I'm about to get to you. But I want to give another point that he brought to importance. Isn't it interesting in the organized things, like organized sports? So you have so many people, different colors, different cultures, nationalities. Everyone gets along because the commonality is what? That sport. We saw it in football. So you're all supposed to get together for the good of the group to play the sport, but when it comes to the protest of what America is not doing and acknowledging and making others feel safe, and I'm going to kneel to that, I'm going to penalize you. Thus, Colin Kaepernick not being a part of the game. Thus, now the NFL creating these ridiculous policies. But it was okay for us all to be together, to work together to amass this entertainment venue, this entertainment source for you as an NFL or an NBA. Or it was okay, as he stated, to be in the military. So how many people could be in the military, different colors, all in agreement that we're going to fight for the freedoms of this America, but then I can call you all kinds of words. I can think that you shouldn't have equal rights. I could sit and say you shouldn't be able to vote. I can do all those things, but under the guise of military, we're all supposed to get together now and work together. So that's who we are over here, but in the truth of it, that's not who we are. I won't invite you over to my house for dinner. You're my work friend, but not my home friend. We don't talk outside of this organized environment where we all know that we're supposed to be committed to our common cause. Did you all think about that? So what does that look like for us? Because we're always working to create that comfort in these environments, and it doesn't benefit us. We work so hard to create a comfort in our families that doesn't benefit our families. We'll spend more time talking about shenanigans and the new songs and the new dances versus how we're going to amass wealth. What are we doing as a family? How are we going to get out of debt? What are we going to invest in? What are we going to buy? How's that? That's going to generate revenue for us, or return on investment for us. So we are so busy trying to make folks feel comfortable with us that we won't even share how to empower and get us in a better situation for each other. Everyone? So to whose benefit is that? Because I promise you, around their dinner tables, they're talking about how is Martha Stewart pardoned or potentially pardoned, and look at her stock values, and how can we figure out how to buy some stock? That's what they're talking about. They're talking about, oh, well, remember everyone with diamonds, because little Jimmy is about to get married, and you all knew that De Beers was sold in 2011, and they got like $1.5 billion for it, and now they set up a separate company under Anglo that's now going to make these man-made diamonds, and so now we can get Jimmy to buy one of those because the price points won't be that high, and it's going to look the same, but then we have stock in the company, so then it's going to make the valuation go up, and we're going to make money. But you can't have those conversations if you don't have the information, is what I'm saying. So when we sit and talk about that everyday racism, it's our fault that we're not even interested in the information. Did you hear me say that? It's our fault. It's all right there. And then you're going to go back and tell me, Collette, but we weren't taught that. Stop. That's the reason why you're in the situation that you're in, because you're still putting the onus on someone else because they didn't teach you. They're not going to teach you. If I want to maintain my power and control, I don't create another me. I stay Geppetto. The Geppetto. You all can't get away from the Geppetto. I stay Geppetto. So I'm going to only feed you what I want you to have, and you're only going to think that your success is based on me feeding you and doing something for you, and I'm going to keep and stay up in my socioeconomic class, and you're going to stay in yours. And then I'm going to allow you to get these little trinkets and these things that make you really think you're doing something. So when tax times, you're going to get this little money, and then you're going to buy something, and you're going to think you're living an American dream, and you're not going to want anything else because you got that little trinket. Or you're able to go and buy that designer purse. Or you're able to go and buy those Nike shoes. Or those Gucci sunglasses. And you're really going to think that you're living the American dream and it's a depreciating asset and you're not going to know anything to do with it and you don't have any stock in any of the companies that you're spending all these monies with. I'm just asking. Because we're going to put it all together. Let me go to the line before we go to break. Thanks for your patience. Good morning to you.
How you doing today?
I'm amazing, of course.
First, I gotta give a shout out to the P33 Comcast Channel 91, WHTR, Detroit Highland Park.
Sure.
You look lovely today.
Thank you.
Great show.
Okay.
Thank you for showing the clip of Archie Bunker. It came out in the 70s. Because you did bring it up that right now, currently here in the city of Detroit, 2018. The mindset and the verbalization that we saw that clip from Archie Bunker is in existence today.
Oh, yeah.
First goes down to Fox, and you look at all the cartoon shows. The same mindset, the same bigotry that you see and used to see on Archie Bunker is on Family Tie.
Okay.
And all of the cartoons
that
they show on Fox.
All
So
right.
thank you for bringing a point that they have not, when it comes down to corporate America, changed too much. And it's not us waiting on them to change. It's up to you to live in the moment of the day. And go back to what I said, be around the people who you see, you live on.
Okay.
Because those are the ones that
All right.
I'm going to name this one industry that people don't have to go to college to start this business.
Okay.
This business is in existence in every community,
Sure.
from Birmingham all the way downtown.
Okay.
But nobody goes to school to learn about this industry.
Okay.
You want to know what industry I'm talking about?
What?
Chinese fast food, Chinese restaurant.
Oh. Well, they're not Chinese. So they're not going to start, black folks won't start a soul food restaurant, not unless a Chinese food restaurant. We're consumers. We're not going to, I believe that something happened innately in our minds that said after the work from slavery, we don't want to put in the work. We won't put work in for ourselves. But we'll work 20 hours at the plant. We'll work 7 days at the job. We don't have any problems with working for someone else. But when it comes to cultivating a mindset for business, we can't do it. How many people do you know went through the buyout, got the buyout? I know tons of them. Took the buyout, that $50,000, $60,000. Oh, they're going to go into business for themselves. That might have lasted maybe a year, and now they're right back at a job. Because people don't understand. Being an entrepreneur is no joke. You're constantly thinking. You're constantly working. You have to be 10 steps ahead. You have to have the information. You have to know how to engage a conversation that can turn into a business opportunity for you. We weren't taught that from anyone else, and we didn't choose to teach ourselves. Hold the line for me, Ava. I'm going to go to break, and then I'll get you when we get on the other side. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Everyone, don't go anywhere. We are at the top of the hour. We're going to take a break, a cause for the pause, and then we'll be back with more coffee and conversation with Collette.